Welcome to the Trial and Podcast. I'm your host, Bo. This is my co-host, the People's host, Danny. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Good, mate. Today we're going to be talking about top 10 players to avoid, especially to start the season in fantasy. We'll cover both All-Star games. We might have a look at the UFC yesterday. I know you're a big UFC fan, so we'll touch on that at the end. But let's get into it. Top 10 people to avoid to start the season.
Alrighty.
Who are they?
So the top 10, I've made them so that they're all, kind of expensive players. So all 550k and over. And starting off at number 10, we've got Albert Kelly for the Brisbane Broncos. Obviously, huge signing in the off-season for the Broncos with Adam Reynolds coming in. And I think in the halves, Tyson Gamble will partner him.
Yeah, less than 2% people own him. He averaged 41 last year, but I just can't see him getting enough game time to warrant 550 to start the season.
Yeah, bar an injury, I don't think he'll be getting barely any game time.
And Billy Walters will get that bench spot, I think.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit more versatile, Billy Walters.
Yep.
On to number 9 spot, we've got Mitch Rain for Parramatta Eels at 552k. Reed Marnie there, great hooker. He was injured at the end of the last season, but I think he's good to go for the start of this season.
Yeah, they also got Ray Stone there as well. Even though both will be moving on at the end of this year, I think they're both ahead of Mitch Rain.
Yeah, I think so too. At number 8, we've got Tarek Sims at 573k. The Dragons just brought in a bunch of new forwards. One in particular, Jaden Sewer. And the Dragons have already said that Tarek Sims isn't part of the future plans. So,
well, Sewer will play 80. Jack Bird can play there. They've also got Fui Mayono, who killed it the other night. I thought he had a good season last year when he was on the field. So, Tarek Sims had a great year last year.
He did, yeah.
But, like you said, they've already tipped their lid there and said he's not in their future plans. I can't see him playing many minutes.
No, me neither. On to number 7, I've got Dane Gagai. He's just moved to the Knights. He's 581k, so he's priced at one of the, more expensive centres.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to have the same success as he did at the Bunnies. The Bunnies' left-hand edge, their attack down the left-hand edge, was probably one of the best in the comp.
Yeah.
And the Knights,
not
so much.
Their attack was the second worst in the comp last year. So.
Well, there you go.
That's a good shout. I think when he goes down in value a little bit, he might be some cover, maybe, depending what he's average, because he did average 47 last year. But, yeah, again, he's not in my plan.
No, he's not going to be averaging 47.
Well, I don't think he'll average 47. I'll just say if he's... Because as centres go, there's pretty limited in what you can get in the centres anyway.
Yeah.
I think we've both said Matt Burton's a must in the centres when he's fit.
Yep.
But, Dane Gagai, too pricey for mine.
Yeah, me too. On to number 6, I've gone Josh Maguire at 592k. He's...
Liability.
Yeah, a liability. Like, he doesn't play many minutes either. And he's just a dickhead.
That's all you need to say about him.
Yeah.
He is, and he'll be suspended at least twice throughout the year, so just avoid.
He's starting off the year suspended.
Yeah, well that counts as one.
So there you go. On to number 5, got Aiden Tolman from the Sharkies. He's 625k. They've just brought in Dale Finucane and Cam McInnes, and I think Toby Rioff is probably going to be starting in the front row with Dale Finucane.
Yeah.
So off the bench, I just don't think he's.
He'll play under half an hour a game.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be getting that much game time.
No. Especially that's way overpriced.
Well, yeah, way 625k. I'm not really spending that on a bench player.
No.
On to number 4, I've gone Josh Hodgson. Now this was a bit of a, I don't know, like tossing it up, but last year he really didn't adapt, I guess, to the newer rules, to the quicker game, and he is getting older. So,
this one's a tricky one for me because if we've seen the best version of him, and it's very good, and he's very attack minded too. So especially if he gets his kicking game going. I don't know, but they've got that hooker on the bench, Starling, who's a good player.
Yep.
So
yeah,
we'll see.
I don't think Hodgson will be playing 80, maybe 50 to 60 minutes. I guess
that was the only one I was on the fence about. Like, I could see him being in some sides. He's not in many sides. Let's get him back up. I think he's in. Yeah, so he's in 1% of sides at the moment. Yeah, still haven't managed to average almost 50 last year. So
I just don't think he'll be kicking that much anymore either, because you got Jamal Fogarty's come in and he's. He does do quite a lot of the kicking.
As long as Jack White doesn't do much kicking, that's probably for the best.
Yeah. I was going to ask, pardon me, have the Raiders had like a notable 7 in the last 2 seasons?
Not really. Like, yeah, you had Caesar there. And
Was that 2 seasons ago?
I don't remember.
Oh no, they had George Williams.
Yeah, still, yeah. George Williams was really good. He played really good for that first season he was in the NRL.
Yeah.
I think we had a look and he was like one of the best defensive sevens in
I
the
think he was the
competition.
best defensive 7.
And then we all know what happened to him last year.
Yeah.
They got some work to do, the Raiders, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of the Raiders, number 3, Corey Harawira-Naera at 640k. Now, he was really good last year in terms of fantasy when he played big minutes.
Yeah.
But this year, Adam Elliott's come in. And I think Adam Elliott will be taking that spot. You got Ryan Sutton, I think will be the other back rower, and Adam Elliott, and then Corey probably come off the bench, where I don't think he'll have as much success.
That's another back rower that can find the try line, though. Can find the try line.
If you give him the minutes.
Yeah.
He's just like, he's not going to get the minutes, I don't think. I would start Ryan Sutton and Adam Elliott over him.
Alright.
And 640k is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of cash.
Anyway, on to number 2. I've gone Jake Trbojevic. He's never really been that good of a fantasy scorer.
No, he's kind of been consistent, but I mean, a couple of years ago, those 48 were good. Like if you were getting 48 every week, that's all right. But he hasn't gone to that next level.
No.
And he just stays around that 48, 50 mark. And you have players in that kind of position now that are getting 60s, 70s, 80s. So yeah, he's kind of fallen behind.
Yeah. Plus, he doesn't really get those really big scores, but then he doesn't get those like low, like 20 odds. So he's a safe option, but I'm just.
Maybe a bench option, but it's a bit pricey for a bench player.
Yeah, definitely. And number 1. So this is just for the start of the season, all right? So I've got Tom Trbojevic. I will be avoiding for the start of the season.
Yeah.
He's $1 million.
Well, he's $1 million for a reason, though. He's absolute fantasy juggernaut when he's on.
Yeah, no.
But you can only get him or Cleary.
Yeah.
And who's the safer one out of the two?
Cleary. Well, you've got to think about it. Tom Trbojevic, how many full seasons has he played?
I would hazard to say he hasn't played a full season.
Not in years, anyway. So he is known to pull a hammy every now and again.
Yeah.
And last year's form, can he carry it on? That's a huge question. But I think Cleary 100% is a safe option if you're going to go for $1 million man.
I think we'll get into that in the coming weeks before the season starts. Can he do that again? Because we can't understate what it was that he did last year. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So in his first season was 2015.
Yeah.
He only played 9 games, but he'd probably come in halfway through that year. And then the next 3 years, he played 23 games pretty much each year.
Okay, well there you go. That would include finals though, wouldn't it?
I don't know if they may. Yeah, they might have, but still 20 plus games. That's good. And then he has not played 20 games since 2018. Has not managed 20 games.
About 4 years.
Yeah, so he's still been underdone.
Look, I just can't justify spending $2 million on 2 players.
Yeah.
So I think just a safe option is Nathan Cleary. I mean, I'm not saying don't get Tommy Turbo, but I just don't think he'll carry on his form from last year. Last year was one of the best individual seasons that I think we've ever seen.
I think it's the best. I think that was only including 1 finals game, those 3 seasons. So not bad. Over 20 games, you'll take that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into these games, the All-Star games from the other night. In the first game, the Indigenous women beat the Māori women 18-8. I thought the Māori women were on top for all of the first quarter and the start of the second quarter. I thought they played really, really well. And they were dominating field possession, but then Jamie Chapman, intercept try, kind of went the length.
Yeah.
I saw some of her last year, and I thought if this girl gets a shot at fullback, she's going to be dangerous because she's really big too. Like she's got a solid frame, and we can see that she's fast. So I'd love to see her get her hands on the ball a little bit more.
Mate, no one even came close to catching her.
I thought because she's so big,
yeah,
I thought like she's going to get run down here. She streaked away, so that was really good to see. That was her first of 2 tries there. I tell you what I noticed, and Clarkey from Clarkey's NRL column pointed this out. The reason I kind of don't mind watching it is because there's no wrestle. There's no wrestle in the game. Guys, you've got to go check this out. It's all about the first contact. And that's why it feels a little bit more physical in these games because it is the first contact and you see him just knock straight to the ground. So I like watching that. The Māoris hit back. That Vetty Walsh, the fullback for the Māori side, she's a good player, man. She showed some speed. I think they got an attack on from about the halfway line. She broke through the line and then ended up getting the offload away, and they scored in the corner.
Bit of finesse from her too with a couple of those passes.
Well, she set up a try later on too, and then you get that Tamika Upton on the other side, another really good player. We had big raps on her last year. She threw a lovely cut-out pass to put the winger in there. I think, and we talked about this earlier, noticeable increase in skill, in the skill level of the game, I think.
Well, it's been a couple of years since I watched... I'm not lying.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years since I watched my last women's game, and it looked a lot better.
Yeah, and I thought the kicking games in particular have improved. I think that was a big thing I was critical of.
Yeah.
And I think you can be critical of the game. You can enjoy watching the game and be critical of it. I think that helps the game grow.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed both these games. I thought the women's game, like I said, noticeable increase in the skill level. And some of the passes, just to set up that second try for the Indigenous women.
Was it Chapman? Was she the second try or was she the last?
No, so she scored the first and the last, or the first and the third. The second... Oh, no, she did score that. I can't remember the winger. The winger scored in the corner. Can't remember if it was Chapman.
No, it was Chapman. Chapman was the winger on that edge.
On the left.
On the left edge.
Yeah, so that would have been for a second try. Anyway, the first pass from dummy half from the halfback was a lovely pass. And then I think it was another cutout pass and then a cutout pass to the winger. So I really enjoyed that. Anyway, they win 18-8. Then we go on to the men's game. Oh, before we get to the men's game, I want to talk about one player in that game. Shannon Mato. I'm definitely saying that wrong. I think they pronounced it differently on commentary, so I'm sorry for that. But she had an unbelievable performance. 54 minutes, 19 hit-ups, 204 metres, which was the most of any male or female on the night. No one ran for over 200 metres. 89 post-contact metres, 21 tackles in the middle, no missed tackles. Outstanding effort in her second NRLW performance.
Second?
Yeah, second ever. Unbelievable.
Where's she come from?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure she's playing for the Titans this year.
Oh.
So keep an eye on her, because that's unbelievable. Unbelievable work in the middle there.
Surely
in a losing side.
There'd be more NRLW teams out there, aren't there?
Yeah, no, so they play like another competition, but it's not registered with the NRLW stats. So obviously she's been around, but that's her second NRLW performance. So I think, just in closing on the women's game, the more money we put into it, the more effort we put into the women, the better the product's going to become. And you can already see that in just a few years. I think this is the third or fourth season now of the NRLW. We're already seeing the skill level come up. So get behind it, guys. Anyway, anything you want to say to close off that?
No, on to the men.
On to the men. The Māori All-Stars beat the Indigenous All-Stars 16-10. I thought it was a super fun game.
It was good. It was good. It was physical. Physical.
Which I love to see.
Yeah.
I think when the All-Stars first come and they first started, it was more like a novelty kind of fan event. Now I think, especially the last few years, you can see they really care about the result.
Yeah, well, before it wasn't the Māori All-Stars, it was just the NRL All-Stars. So it was players from England, Australia, well, just all over the world really, that weren't Indigenous. But I think it's been,
3 years, and I think the Indigenous side hasn't won in a while, actually. Because they drew last year and the Māoris won the year before. So
did they?
Yeah, so I think that's almost 4 years since they've won.
Okay, so it's been a while since they've been doing the Māori versus Indigenous.
Yeah, I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but I just noticed in this game both teams really wanted to win, which is good. Like, you don't really want to just watch an exhibition. I thought they missed the trick with Latrell not being able to play this game.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's the most famous Indigenous player in the game right now. I think he's probably an inspiration to a lot of young kids in the Indigenous community. If you're going to let him play a trial match in 2 weeks, I don't understand why he couldn't play this game. Just the NRL shoot himself in the foot so much. No one would give a shit if he played this game. It just makes no sense. Anyway, David Fifita starts us off with a breakdown the right edge. New Year, same old David Fifita. He beat those 3 tackles, man, and you just...
Like they were nothing.
Oh, literally, it was like boys against men. And Patrick Herbert had a really good game. He was one of the players that just got shrugged off here.
Yeah.
He's probably happy he doesn't have to tackle him anymore this season. Then he gets to the fullback. Rapana draws and passes. Rapana smashes him off the ball. It was a good start for the Indigenous side, but I thought the Māoris were all over him before that. And then
100%.
The Indigenous side had a pretty good period after that, and then the scuffle happened and 2 players got sin-binned. I know you didn't love Andrew Fifita getting sin-binned, but I just thought it is what it is. They like to sin-bin 2 at a time. I don't know what that is about. And then I thought it was all Maoris from then on, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the only other time that the Indigenous side really got back into it was when Albert Kelly kicked the 40-20.
Yeah, which was late.
Which was very late.
Yeah.
And then a couple of tackles later, he takes the line on and drops the ball. So
kind of felt for him there because I didn't mind him running the ball at that moment either, which is what it is. I thought the Maoris done a really good job of working Nico Hines over.
Oh yeah.
Now, so Nico Hines, obviously fullback, he's just moved in the halves. I think they had a plan to try and work him over and nullify him in attack.
Yeah.
I looked it up. So the tackle difference between the two teams was nothing. I think the Maori side made 4 more tackles than the Indigenous side.
Yeah. Which is weird.
The Maori halves made 25 tackles between them. Nico Hines made 23 himself. Had to make 23.
Well, maybe that was the game plan.
That's what I mean. They worked him over really, really well. I think Braden Trindle had to make 9 tackles in the game. But in saying that, and I was worried about this for Nico Hines, I thought the workload in defence would nullify him in attack a little bit. I thought he's really good.
Yeah.
I thought he's really good in attack. He still managed to run for over 100 metres, had the most kick metres in the game, which I didn't think he would shoulder the responsibility for the kicking either.
Me neither, mate.
Picked up a nice try assist off kick at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a missed kick. It seemed to just land in the middle of nowhere. It was a good kick. I thought he played really well, but I think they had a better game plan than the Indigenous side did.
Yeah.
And it showed.
They
just attacked him the whole game.
The Indigenous game plan was get the ball David Feeder.
That's not a bad game plan, though. The Maori side ran in 2 tries in 8 minutes. That was when they had 2 in the bin, I think. And then what's her name got sent to the bin later, and they scored again.
Ramian.
Yeah, and then I think Tarpany scored again. I thought Nicarima played really good, controlled the game for large parts, especially when they were in front. Just done enough. I wanted to ask you, who impressed you? I said Nico Hines. I thought he's really good.
Yeah, so I've got 2 players from each side. So Joe Tarpany, Patrick Herbert, Nico Hines, and I liked Josh Curran too.
Oh yeah,
I like his work in the middle.
Yeah, I left out Patrick Herbert. I probably should have added him. I thought he was really good as well. Nico Hines, I had Selwyn Cobbo. I thought every time he touched the ball, he looked like he was hard to tackle.
Yeah.
And the good players are like that.
Yeah.
Like James Tedesco, he just seems to be able to get away from everyone.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, so Selwyn Cobbo, look out for him this year. I thought Dylan Walker looks super, super fit.
Yeah, strong.
He's an absolute piece of shit of a human. But I thought he looked so fit and strong. That's a really good sign for Manly because what they did last year, especially late in the year, was build off him off the bench. His energy off the bench was really good. So, Dylan Walker, I thought he was really good. And obviously Tarpany played outstanding. I've got an interesting fact here about Tarpany. Played 60 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Had 14 hit-ups, 122 metres, 48 post-contact metres, 7 tackle breaks, 1 line break assists. That was in 60 minutes of footy. How many times did he play 60 minutes last year?
I want to say 0.
Absolutely 0 times.
Yeah. Well, there was a big kind of feud between him and Ricky, and even you guys might remember when Joe Tarpany's wife came out and started complaining about it.
I mean, this is proof in the pudding. There were good players out there the other night.
Yeah.
And he stood up and led his team, and he's outstanding. In 60 minutes, he needs to be playing big minutes for the Raiders this year. And I just got it written here. Ricky, this guy needs to be on the field if you guys are a chance of making the 8. Like, if you have any chance of making the 8, he needs to play good minutes.
Look down the camera. Tell Ricky.
No, I don't, because I know Ricky's likely to throw him, so I'm not going to look down the camera. But just off to the side, Ricky, have a go, mate. Anyway, I thought it was a really good game. Both games I thought were really fun. The women's, the NRLW starts not this weekend, the next weekend. There's a triple header at Newcastle. I'll be going. You're going as well? Yes.
Thank you.
But the trials for the NRL start this week. Kick off on Friday. We got the Roosters and the Raiders. The Roosters versus the Raiders. The Tigers versus Manly. Saturday's the Storm versus the Warriors. Cowboys versus the Bunnies. Titans versus the Broncos. Sunday is the Panthers versus the Sharks. The Eels versus the Dragons. And then on Monday, you got the Knights and the Bulldogs. I'm pretty certain all of those are on KO. So you'll get to watch that all weekend, including Monday night footy. We've got 4 days of footy starting Friday. So pre-season's over, mate.
Yeah, mate. We're here, finally.
The off-season's over. We've been saying this for a while, our prediction show. I keep kind of putting it off because you still don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I won't even get any closer to knowing after the trials. There is a gap week between the trials and the NRL season starting. I think we might slate it for then.
All right, yeah.
The Monday of the NRL season kicking off.
That week.
I think we might do our prediction show then. Obviously, we'll recap all the trials this weekend. We'll go through some more fantasy stuff, and we'll do something next Monday. If you got any suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, we'll do something.
We'll do something.
Anything.
Anything. But anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any complaints about the fantasy segment of the episode, direct them to Denny. If you have any glowing
Reviews.
what's that word? Compliments? Send them to me. Anyway, guys, thank you.